What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Polygon, formerly known as Matic, now POL, at the request of C-Zar. We're talking about this for you. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. I am using the Matic chart instead of the POL chart because it's got more historical data, right? And I think that might be important for what we're trying to do in this video. So looking at this here, we've had a little bit of a pullback recently, right? What you have overall is this kind of grandiose accumulation phase, right? Is what I would assume this is. It's an accumulation phase. And of this phase, you've had one low here and another low here. That's what they would call a double bottom, okay? Very bullish pattern. Generally, it would take you not just to the highs of this range, but through the highs of this range. A move like this could be very, very bullish indeed. If we look at the current price from the low here to the relative high, that was not the low. Let's get the low right there. Low there to high. You have pulled back all the way directly to, literally tipping the golden ratio, the 618 at 41.6 cents there. You literally went right to it. Couldn't have been more perfect. Found support, and now you're back up here. The goal, in my opinion, on a daily perspective would be to not close below 46.8 cents. You're at right now 47.1 cents, so it's not too far away, but the goal would be to not close below there. If you do, it's fine, but if you do it, you run the chance of coming back down to this 618, 69 zone, and the further away that we can get from this area, the faster, the more likely that it will be a low, the better off that the chart looks. And I very much do expect or suspect that that is the low. I don't think you go lower, but validate that. Validate me, right? Go higher. Continue to close above 46.8 cents. And really what I'd like to see is you get above 52.6 cents. You start closing above 52.6 cents. There's no doubt in my mind that that's the low, okay? If we look at this here, assuming that's the low, and we take a relative fib based off of this high and we take it down to this low, we've got some fib extensions to go off of, which could project out where the next move might take us. I'm expecting personally that this move here, while it was nice, I'm suspecting that this next move will actually be faster. It might be similar in overall size, but I think the pitch, the slope of this next move will be at a higher pitch than the last move up was. So my expectation would be, just looking at this here, I mean, these lines are pretty close in size together already. My expectation would be that going into January, you see a move that takes you back above $1 and likely as high as like $1.13. Now, if you don't stop at $1.13, there's a couple areas, other areas you could go to, but the highest I'd probably give it would be about $1.70. If you don't go to $1.13, maybe $1.13 to $1.43 could be where you go. But something in this area is kind of my expectation by the end of January, by the end of this next move here. If you're not in this zone, the highest I'd give you would be $1.70, but the most likely area I think you'll be at is probably around $1.13, okay, for Polygon over the coming weeks, over the coming months, or over the coming months. So if that sounds good to you guys, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. The daily RSI looks very good. Down at the oversold zone, finding support literally right off of it, bouncing right off the daily 123 moving average for support, an area that you found resistance on before, support before, definitely a significant area. It's turning up, it's sloping upwards. We got the weekly here, finding resistance on it as well. So I think getting above this line would be a very strong testament of this thing moving higher. If we go from a high to a low here, and we go all the way up to the 1618, it is very possible that we could pull all the way back to the 100 to 886 area, right? It's very, very possible. Sometimes we do that, and I think a move like that would actually look pretty appropriate for what we're doing now, right? It seems appropriate. Higher high, higher low, something like that. You'd come up to the areas of resistance that you've been at before, and this time, instead of rejecting and going all the way down, maybe what you do is you consolidate and you get ready for that next phase up. It would also make sense to pull back a little bit because this is your previous area of resistance for one, but also because your 123 moving average on the weekly might be down there, and on the weekly time frame, it's very common when you break above it to pull back and find support on it, right? To pull back and find support. It's very, very common to find support on the weekly once you break out. So if the target area is between, what was it? I can't remember now. Target area was $1.13, between like $1.13 and $1.43, as high as $1.70. I could definitely see, you know, resistance in this area, probably more likely this area, right, specifically. I could see that happening, and then you pull back to the resistance points that you just had, confirm that as support, pull back to this 123 moving average, and then continue to move higher. All in all, I do think Polygon is going to see new all-time highs this cycle, and I think those all-time highs will come in at prices that are around anything from 535 to 1156. Personally, I am looking for these higher targets, 1156 to 734, but anything can happen. We never know the future, right? It could go higher. Actually, let me just see real quick before we end the video. Paul. Xmatic Polygon. We're just going to do this one. So less than $1 billion. Okay, so you're at less than $1 billion in market cap right now. Wow. I mean, genuinely, guys, Polygon, Matic, whatever you want to call it, I think it could be worth $50 by the end of this cycle. Genuinely. Hold on, I gotta sneeze, man. Whew. It won't come. I want it to come. I like sneezing. I'm not one of those people that tries to ignore it. I embrace it. But I'm just looking at this here, man, based off of the market cap. I mean, what'd you do here from a high to a low? I mean, here you topped at your 3113. You literally, like, basically perfectly topped at your 3113. Found support at your 200,886 area. Nice. If you were to do the same thing here, your 3113 is all the way up at $321. Now, personally, I don't think that's going to happen. That would give you like a $650 billion market cap, right? I don't think that's going to happen. It could happen, but I don't think that happens. But instead of hitting the 3113 like you did last cycle, maybe you step it down to the 2272 or the 2618 itself. I could see Matic being worth multiple hundreds of billions of dollars by the end of the cycle. That would, if anyone's looking at this price at $106, which is a very nice psychological area of resistance as well, if anyone's looking at that price and you're saying that's too high, that would give Matic or Polygon a market cap of $200 billion. Don't you know how high that is? I know how high that is. I also know that the only cryptos that achieve market caps like that are cryptos that look like this, that have been around for multiple cycles, have had substantially higher highs and higher lows, right, cycle after cycle, and still remain relevant, and Polygon has definitely remained relevant, so it could happen. A multi-100x is absolutely possible with this thing. I don't think it's going to happen, but that would be the extent personally that I would give it. $106 by the end of the cycle, that's the extent, the highest that I'd give it. The minimum target that I would probably have is about 1156, right? And that's about a 24x from here, personally. I suppose maybe 730. That could be a good minimum target, about a 15x from here. That's a good minimum target, 730. 106 is the maximum target. If I had to be real with what my expectations were, I would say truthfully anything between 1156 to $50 is probably my expectation. And I really do like these higher areas around like $20 to $50 personally, but anything can happen. One thing's for certain, though, or one thing's for sure. Nothing's for certain, I suppose, but one thing is for sure. I do believe that Polygon is about to move up to new all-time highs, right? On a month-to-month basis, we will see it break out to new all-time highs probably sometime in the middle or late, probably not late, but probably mid-2025, just before the midpoint of 2025. I would suspect that we're there. And then by the end of the cycle, anything from $11 to $50 is my personal expectation, with the possibility of going all the way up to $100 is there, but I personally don't expect that. But I wouldn't bet against it either. I wouldn't bet on it, but I wouldn't bet against it. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for you. If you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. Bye-bye.